Welcome to the Make More Money as a Dietitian podcast, where we talk about all things money, mindset, and marketing so your nutrition business can thrive and you can make a bigger impact in the marketplace. I am your host, Christine Diane, registered dietitian and money mindset expert. Let's get started with today's episode. Hey there, friends. Welcome back to another episode of Make More Money as a Dietitian. Before we get started with today's episode, I just wanted to give you a little introduction to what we're going to be talking about today. Well, this is our final installment of the series for Black History Month, and today's guest interview is with Andrea Mathis. And Andrea is just a mover and a shaker, especially on Instagram. If you're connected with her on Instagram, her handle is Beautiful Eats and Things, and that is also the name of her website. And she just always has beautiful food photography. That was one of the things that really attracted me to her when I first started using Instagram. And I also love her website. Her recipes are amazing. But even more so, what Andrea is going to share with us today is how she started collaborating with brands. I think there is so much value in this conversation, and I know that there are many of you who are listeners who are interested in collaborating with brands and getting paid to do so. So let's go ahead and get started and listen to Andrea's story and get inspired. Well, welcome back to another episode of Make More Money as a Dietitian. You guys, I have a special guest again today. Are you excited? You should be excited because this is going to be really, really good. Today, I have Andrea Mathis, and I believe she also goes by the name Andy.
Yes.
And she is a registered dietitian who's going to share with us today more about the topic that I love the most, which is how to build a business using your own unique skills and talents and just being yourself and being successful.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you don't have to feel like that you have to copy what someone else is doing or copy what they say you should be doing in order to be successful. You can be successful in your own unique way. So welcome, Andy. Can I call you Andy or would you prefer Andrea?
You can call me Andy. Yes.
All right. Awesome. Well, welcome to the podcast, and go ahead and let everyone know about you and what you do and all of the things in between.
Sure. Well, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate taking this time that we can chat today. Well, I am a registered dietitian, and I have been one for maybe about 10 years or so. And I've worked in many different areas: clinical, long-term care. I've worked in with nutrition. So I've kind of, been in a few different areas. I worked in long-term care for a while, maybe about 8 years or so. And, so I gained a lot of experience there. But I also started my blog while I was working in long-term care. And so that's how Beautiful Eats and Things kind of came about. And, just sharing my recipes, people would ask questions all the time, like, where can I find your recipes? And so that's when I decided to do the blog. And, that's how that came about. And, I kept getting different opportunities and things while I was still working full time. And I felt like, well, I have to make a decision because I couldn't do both. For me, I couldn't do both. I know some people do, but I had to make a choice to where I needed to stay at my job or if I needed to leave that job to focus more on the blog. And that's what I did about 3 years ago. And I left my job and I am pursuing the blogs full time.
I think that's awesome. And for any of the listeners who already are following you, I'm sure they know that not only are your recipes delicious, but the food photography is amazing.
Thank you.
I mean, the food photography, the styling of the food, like I'm a really big fan of all of those things because at one point in my career as a dietitian, I wanted to become a culinary chef, and I was going to go to school for that. And then they were like, oh, girl, you need to pay $16,000.
Oh no.
And you cannot take out student loans because you have exhausted
Mm,
your student loan limit. I was like, well, we won't
yes.
be doing that.
Hmm.
So, so I
That's a
really
lot.
can appreciate your food styling, your food
Thank you.
photography, and your recipes as well. What
Hmm.
really led you from going to um doing that as far as the recipes and all of that?
Hmm.
Like that's like from one end of the spectrum to
Yeah, to
another,
the
from
next.
long-term care to what you're doing now. Have you
Yes.
always been passionate about food in that
Mm.
way?
Yes, I've always loved cooking. I've always, when I was younger, I would help my mom, my grandmother cook. So I've always been passionate about cooking. And even at my job, like I would kind of leave my desk to go help the cooks, when I was working at the long-term
Oh.
care facility. So, like I would just kind of, kind of leave that to go help them and just kind of see what they were whipping up. So I've always been interested in that aspect of it. And in the food photography, it just kind of came with me trying to figure out what style I wanted and how I wanted my food to be presented. And it's just important to me that people look at my photos and feel kind of what I feel, which is I'm always happy when I think about food or when I'm cooking.
Hmm.
I love bright colors. That's just me. So I want people to feel that and see that when they look at my photography.
Yeah, I love that you really have just brought your whole self into this
Yes.
brand of yours. Where and speaking of brands, like what does the name Beautiful Eats and Things? How did you come up with that? I love it.
Thank you. Well, before I had the page Beautiful Eats and Things, like my Instagram page, I was a makeup artist, and
Mm.
so my Instagram page was it was Beautiful MUA or something like that, like Beautiful Makeup Artistry. And so
Oh.
I wanted to keep the beautiful for some reason, and I was like,
Hmm.
how can I tie this in? Because I wanted to keep like my audience. I didn't want them to leave when they saw that I was going to transfer and do food. So I was like, maybe I can kind of tie it in so that I can keep my audience. So I just tried to put that together with food somehow and came up with Beautiful Eats and Things.
Beautiful Eats and Things. And I
Yeah.
know that where are you? You're in the Atlanta area. Where are you?
I'm in Birmingham, Alabama.
Birmingham, Alabama. Oh
Yes.
my goodness. Okay, I used to live there for a short period of
Oh,
time.
okay.
After I graduated
Hmm.
from college, I didn't go into my internship right away, and
Okay.
I moved to Birmingham, Alabama because I thought I fell in love with this guy. Side note,
Uh-huh.
and I worked at UAB for a little bit, so I'm
Yes.
familiar with Birmingham so
Hmm.
much. Okay, so nice. Now, you do so much, Andrea. In my mind, or Andy, I'm really just trying to think about all of these things. We could
Hmm.
like be on here for a long time talking about what you do, because when I see what you do on
Hmm.
Instagram, you are I did know about the makeup artistry too, which I thought was amazing.
Thank you.
And then you have the food blog, and
Hmm.
then you are on TikTok
Yes.
also with your body acceptance and
Hmm.
all of that kind of stuff. And so I really just love how you brought it all together. But one of the
Yes.
things I think will be really helpful for
Hmm.
everyone to hear is how you started working with brands.
Okay.
I get that question even from my own clients that I work
Hmm.
with, and that's not my area of expertise. So I would
Yes.
love to hear how you got started with that.
Sure. Well, working with brands, it was a slow process because first I didn't even know that you could do that. I didn't even know you could make money from blogs. I didn't know any of this stuff. So I first joined, I guess, like the websites, like you have, I think like Social Fabric and things like that, like these websites that you can join to where they have campaigns that you can sign up for and you can
Mm.
apply. And then if you're picked, then you get to be a part of the campaign and they pay you money for that. So I started off doing that, just to kind of get some experience working with brands. And after I did that for maybe a few months, then I started being approached by brands directly, so that they
Mm.
they started emailing me. I thought that that was pretty cool, and then I started reaching out to brands after that. So it took me a while to even know that I could do that. But
Hmm.
once I, just kind of talk with some other bloggers and they were asking, are you pitching to brands? And I was like, okay, well, what is this? So I talked with them and I made a list of brands that I use and brands that, I have in my home and brands that I wanted to work with. And I looked up their PR information and reached out to them. So now that's how a lot of my partnerships have been formed.
Oh my gosh. So this is so good. What's the name of the website that you started out with at first?
Well, it wasn't a website. It was just my Instagram page. It was beautiful,
Oh no,
beautiful.
no, not your Instagram page, but the
Oh,
brand, like pitching to brands or
oh, the website that I used, it was Social Fabric,
social.
socialfabric.com.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Socialfabric.com. That is,
Yes.
well, I'm sure there's more of them out there that are
Mm-hmm.
like that, right? And
Yes.
so what gave you the inclination to even, how did you find that? Like, it's the thing where they say you don't know what you don't know. So how
Yes.
did you even come across that website?
I just went on Google and just researched. I think I typed in how to get partnerships or how to work with different food brands, just some
Yeah.
generic searches on Google,
Okay.
and that popped up.
Oh my
So
God.
yeah, so I just went that route and just wanted to see what happened if I signed up for it, and it turned out to be pretty good.
That's really awesome. So to me, it sounds like you were just really resourceful and just had your nose to the grindstone, as they say.
Yes,
And you
yes.
were really just trying to figure out how to make it
Hmm.
work, which I think is really awesome. Now, when it comes to now, first of all, I just want to say this, of course, podcast is all about dietitians making money and
Sure.
doing things
Hmm.
um to make money and in a more non-traditional way,
Hmm.
right?
Yes.
And so let's touch on the being yourself and being more authentic. What do you
Hmm.
feel is super important about that?
That is super. It's really important because I feel like that's what sets you apart from other bloggers, and other people that are also doing the same thing, blogging about food and posting pictures. And it's hard because it's easier said than done. Because when you get started out and you don't know anything about blogging, like how I did, I knew nothing about it, and you see styles and you see other people's profiles that you like, and you think, hey, I need to kind of copy this style or kind of, do what they're doing in order to have their success, which
Mhm.
is not true. What works for them is not going to work for you. You have to find your own voice and your own style. And it took me a while to actually find that, to find how I wanted to people to, I guess, view me, how I wanted my personality to come out through my work. But it took a while to get there. But I finally found that voice and that look and everything that I wanted. But it's so important because that's what really sets you apart from others.
It really does. And I recently started a membership community called Embody Academy. And
Hmm.
this is really the foundation of Embody. It's about embodying your uniqueness and
Yes.
in yourself and
Hmm.
then infusing that into your nutrition practice. I think that is
Exactly.
so super important. We don't have cookie cutter funnels or templates or
Hmm.
anything like that, but it's really just embracing who you are and bringing that into your business and making marketing really easy. Because
Yes.
even for myself, when I started doing work with dietitians just 2 short years ago,
Hmm.
I didn't do any fancy stuff. All I did was be myself. And all I
Yes.
am, that's the one thing that I know that I can do best
Hmm.
is be myself. I can't be anyone else good. I can't, you know,
Uh-huh.
which means I'm not going to get the results that they got because I
Right.
can't be them. I can
Hmm.
only be myself.
Be
And I
yourself.
also
Exactly.
focus on people instead of focusing on the money, right?
Yes, that's right.
Man, what has been your experience as far as being able to grow your
Mhm.
brand by just being yourself? Like, how have you been able to generate income doing that?
Um, I found that it's actually brought me more opportunities and increased my income
Mm-hmm.
because, I was trying so hard to, I guess, to give my audience what I think they wanted based on what I saw others doing,
Mm.
the recipes, which is good. I love that. But also part of me, I'm very, very adamant about body positivity. I'm
Mm-hmm.
adamant about, body acceptance. So I wanted to add that into my content because that's a part of who I am. And I
Yeah.
wanted to share my experiences. And I felt that once I started sharing a little bit more about me, kind of the personal side, I felt that I received more opportunities because maybe they were looking for someone who was authentic, and again, I think that may have set me apart from maybe what some other people were doing. So that has actually, yes, increased my income.
Would you say that you are at a have you been able to replace the income you were making at the long-term care facility or even exceeded that, or how's that going for you?
Yes, I have tripled that income.
Wow.
So, yes, I far exceeded that income. And I was super nervous when I left because I said, this is a steady paycheck. But
Hmm.
yes, it's been awesome.
It's really funny because I know I grew up
Yes.
being told and thinking that I would
Hmm.
need that consistent
Yes.
income in order to survive. And it wasn't until, well, let me back it up by saying I used to quit jobs all the time before
Hmm.
I could even get fired. I was a horrible employee.
Yes.
Um, I mean, I really was because I wasn't, and I say horrible not because I didn't
Hmm.
know how to do the work,
Yes.
but horrible because I wasn't committed to the organization. I
Oh,
was more so
gotcha.
committed to my own thing, my
Hmm.
whatever was in the back of my mind, which was always some form of business or
Yes.
entrepreneurship.
Hmm.
But I think it's really important that God, I lost my train of thought right there,
Hmm.
but I'm losing my mind today. But what I really wanted to say is that being yourself
Hmm.
is so very important.
Hmm.
And we don't always have to hold on to consistency in a paycheck
Yes.
to make money. And
Yes.
like I was about to say,
Hmm.
it wasn't until I got fired,
Oh,
or not fired, but I got laid off.
okay.
I got laid off from a job that I really liked.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, oh, well, isn't this something? Out of
Mhm.
all the jobs that I've had that I really didn't like and I left, the
Mhm.
one that I like, they laid me off. They laid me
Oh.
and like 34 other administrative staff off
Mhm.
because I was in management.
Okay.
And that taught me the biggest lesson of my career. There
Mhm.
is no such thing as job security or
Yeah,
consistency in
that's true.
income when the hands are in someone else's. Like your income is in someone else's hands, is what I mean
Yes,
to say.
that's true.
So that was a big wake up call. And I said, you know what? I will never do it again. And I
Mhm.
haven't. And I've been able to create something like you say, I've been able to triple my income.
Mhm.
But see, the caveat is that our income is also reliant on us, right?
Mhm. That's true.
So the income is not in someone else's hands,
Mhm.
it's in your hands. So you
Yes.
have to make sure that you're willing to put in the work
Yes.
to make
And
sure
it
you
takes
have
some
the
work.
that
Yes.
you have that you have
Uh-huh.
the consistency that you desire. So that you have to put in the work. I hear you just now saying it is some work.
Yes.
So how much work are you doing? Like what would you say your weekly schedule is like, or like how
Mhm.
many hours a week do you work on your business?
I can't even keep count. I work I work a lot, and my husband, he's always saying you need to dedicate, the work hours, for your business, and I get it. I should, but I really love what I'm doing. So
Mhm.
even when I'm done, like maybe doing work for clients or something, I'm still trying to figure out what can I do next. Like I'm working on something else, the next project, and I have the other blog, Little Eats and Things. So I have two blogs. So I'm
Mm.
actually, working on both. Just trying to improve them. Like I'm always thinking of how I can take it to the next step. So yeah, I work like all throughout the day, and I need to push back and really set those work hours, but it's
Yeah.
hard.
It is, and I can really relate to that. And this
Mhm.
past year I actually had to do a little bit better with even my own schedule. So hopefully by me explaining this, it'll help someone out there to help you.
Yes.
But what I do is I plan my week ahead of time
Mhm.
and I put it on my Google Calendar. I
Okay.
time block every single thing,
Mhm.
not only in my business, but in my personal life. I mean, all the way down to walking the dog at 8:30 in the morning. That
Oh,
is
that's a good
on my
idea.
calendar.
Mhm.
I calendar everything. And so in my mind, when I do that, it's almost as if it's this little competition with myself.
Mhm.
Are you going to get all these things done? And I don't cram my schedule,
Okay.
but I feel such a sense of gratification, that
Mhm.
sense of reward. The reward that I get is feeling gratified and proud of myself that I did what I said I was going to
Mhm.
do. And every single time I do that, I build self-trust.
Okay.
And every time the more self-trust I have, the more committed I become to my
Mhm.
schedule, and it just keeps rippling along the way.
Oh, that's an
So
awesome
for
idea.
you or anyone else out there
Mhm.
who kind of struggles with the calendar because you
Yes.
love what you do, I do
Mhm.
too. I mean, I go to bed with my laptop sometimes
I
too, okay?
know. It's horrible.
It is hard. It is so hard. My husband, like yours, he probably says the same thing. My
Uh-huh.
husband says, "Can you put the laptop to
Yes.
bed?" You
Uh,
know? But it's really important for us to at least have some sort of structure during the day,
that's true.
so we don't really feel like we are flying by the seat of our pants,
Mhm.
or we get to the end of the month and we're burned out and all
Yes.
of those things.
Mhm.
Have you felt like
Definitely.
you needed a vacation after your vacation?
Oh yes, yes. All yes, I have. And and it like you said, it's so important to, have that structure and everything to prevent that burnout because I definitely felt it last year. I was getting so much work, which I was excited about.
Mhm.
And and some things I probably should have turned down,
Mm.
but I was like, well, this is a great opportunity. And I just took on everything. I took on
Oh.
everything and not realizing that the virtual school, like we started this school and we had to do remote learning, and I didn't
Mhm.
realize how much of a challenge that was going to be, having my kids here doing work, and it was a lot, and I was really burned out by the time Christmas got here, and I really couldn't enjoy it like how I wanted to because I was tired.
Yeah.
I am tired, so
We're
yes.
definitely experiencing a whole different kind of
Mhm.
year and a whole different
Yes.
kind of time, right? Things
Mhm.
things have been so different.
It has.
Um and I empathize with all of the parents out there who have the smaller children that they have to school from home. That
Yes.
can be challenging. I don't have that experience because my son is 16. He'll be
Okay.
17 next month, and
Okay.
he's pretty self-motivated and he just gets it done, and I'm grateful to
Mhm.
God for that.
That's
But
awesome.
I cannot imagine if I had the small kids at home that I had to homeschool. Ooh,
Yes.
we Jesus.
It's
I
tough.
would I would need
Huh?
some sort of beverage at the end of the
Yes, I was
day.
about to say some type of liquid courage.
I love, speaking of beverages, I love your recipes for your
Thank
beverages
you.
too.
Thank
Oh my
you.
goodness, God, all of those things. One
Mhm.
one of the things I want to ask you is about the money piece, and how as a profession we
Mhm.
dietitians don't get paid very much.
Mhm.
And I would love to just get your take on why you think that is, and how did we get to this where we are today? Why do you
Mhm.
think it is that dietitians don't get paid?
I think that one of the reasons is that maybe that a lot of people don't really know that much about our profession, or they probably don't
Mhm.
take it, seriously. I feel like a
Right.
lot of people think you can Google nutrition, you
Mm.
can Google what you need to know about how to eat because that's all that they think we do. We just teach people, how to go on diets and the best fruits and veggies. And I feel like since people don't really have that understanding of our profession, what we do, how much of an impact that we have, I feel that's why we're probably not getting paid what we deserve. People don't know what we do.
Yeah, they don't know what we do, and
Mhm.
they don't really respect it as much.
Exactly.
I totally agree
Hmm.
with the latter part, especially. Um, and when that happens, then the ripple effect is that the dietitian ends up not respecting her profession,
Mm-hmm.
down talking the organizations,
Yes.
maybe even doing a lot of infighting with other
Mm-hmm.
dietitians who
I
don't
know.
have the
Yes.
same um, practice,
Mhm.
philosophy, and all of that thing. And then it's a hot mess. It just
Mhm.
becomes a huge hot mess.
Yes.
So I feel like what needs to happen, and tell me what your thoughts are,
Mhm.
but I feel like what needs to happen is that dietitians need to start respecting one another.
Yes. Mhm.
We need to start respecting one another so that there can be this energetic shift of
Mhm.
respect that ripples outward to
Yes.
the masses. What
Mhm.
do you think about that?
Yes, I totally agree. And and it's like it's so many different, I will say, aspects of dietetics. I mean, everybody's practicing in different areas. Everybody, has
Right.
different philosophies. And I feel like that's okay, but some people don't feel that that's okay. So we're kind of butting heads.
Yeah.
Excuse me. We're kind of butting heads trying to determine who's right, whose philosophy is the best. And I feel like we shouldn't be doing that because you're right. Like it just creates just, I don't know, just negativity amongst us in it. And that's how other people start to look at us in that negative way. And
Yeah.
that just needs to stop.
It really does. I
Hmm.
mean, like you're absolutely right. It's like there
Hmm.
there is no solution but just to stop. And I just see
Yes.
so many conversations that are borderline or even just
Hmm.
well defined as
Yes.
bullying and all of that kind of
Hmm.
thing. A lot of entitlement, a lot
Exactly.
of just so much that does
Hmm.
not need to be involved.
Yes.
Dietitians wanting to um investigate other dietitians for
Hmm.
their ethics and all of this. And I'm like,
Yes.
unless you work for the CDR, you don't need to be investigating anyone. Keep your eyes on
Exactly.
your own paper
Hmm.
and keep it moving.
Yes.
Like if this is how you're dedicating your time, you're definitely not making money as a dietitian because there's no
Yes.
way that you can make good money as a dietitian and your eyes is all the way over on Sally's paper. You
Exactly.
you just need to stop doing that.
Hmm.
So there's just so much pettiness and
Hmm.
cattiness, and if we think that the public does not sense this,
Hmm.
we need to check
Oh
ourselves.
yes, they
You
see
know?
it. They see what's going on, and I think they kind of, I guess, play into that and trying to further cause some division and some drama amongst us. So
Oh my God. It is just the craziest thing.
mhm.
So, as dietitians, we really need to work a lot more diligently on
Yes.
accepting everyone as they are.
Hmm.
Um, just like you would want to accept your clients as they are.
Exactly.
You don't have a client that comes in to your intuitive eating practice, for example. And
Hmm.
this is nothing against intuitive eating
Sure.
practicing dietitians. So don't
Hmm.
come at me because I will come back at you
Hmm.
to tell you the truth.
Hmm.
I am not coming at it, but I'm
Yes.
I'm using it as an example. You would not have a client come in and you wouldn't judge that person off the top
Hmm.
just because
Exactly.
that person has been a certain way all these years before they met you,
Hmm.
and now they've come to you and they need help. You're not going
Yes.
to judge them
Hmm. That's so
for the
true.
way that they show up.
Hmm.
And so it's just the same with our colleagues. We
Hmm.
need to stop judging one another.
That's so
We
true.
need to accept each other as they are, as
Hmm.
long as we're not doing harm. And I guess some dietitians can even create their own definitions of what doing harm is.
Yes. Hmm. That's so true.
Oh my God.
Mhm.
But as long as we're not doing harm,
Yes.
willingly and knowingly.
Yes.
Okay. I think those are the two
The
words
two
that are
keywords.
really important. If you're not knowingly being harmful, if you're not just
Mhm.
out here doing stuff
Mhm.
on purpose, just leave the people alone and let
Yes.
them learn on their own journey,
Yes,
right?
I agree. Mhm.
Oh my goodness, God. So we went on that tangent
Uh-huh.
for whoever needed to hear it today.
It was needed.
No, right?
Hmm.
So, Andy, I would really love to know like what keeps you inspired because you're in a multifaceted practice.
Uh-huh.
So you have your food blog, you have the body acceptance,
Yes.
um, you have your brand work and
Hmm.
collaborations. What keeps you inspired and motivated to keep going?
I believe it's because, like I said, I love what I do. So I'm putting everything that I have into it, like all my passion, my drive, because I enjoy it that much. So that's one of the things that really keeps me going. And also the feedback that I receive, from others. I get tons of messages, tons of
Mm,
emails saying that they feel comfortable seeing someone, with their body type that's out there, that's, a dietitian, someone that looks like them. And that keeps me motivated because I'm like, okay, I'm finally maybe making a difference. I'm helping somebody. If I just
yeah.
help one person, that's like awesome.
Yes, I
Hmm.
know it feels really good because same here. Like sometimes I'll experience a little bit in my business that makes me feel like, oh, do I really want to keep doing this? This
Yes.
is not easy work.
Hmm.
And then that one or two or few people that send me messages just at the right time, it
Yes.
seems.
Hmm.
You know, that's what keeps me going and reminds me of why I started working with dietitians in the first place. You
Yes.
know, one of the mission of my company is to help
Hmm.
change the industry income standard for dietitians across the globe.
Okay.
And so I think it's really important for me at least to keep my mission in mind. And I
Hmm.
have to continue to remind myself of why it is important, not only the
Yes.
mission in mind, but
Hmm.
why it's actually important. Do you have a mission for what you do? Do you have a statement, a mission statement that kind of
Hmm.
keeps you going?
Well, I believe it's just I want to show people like this, artists to bees or just anybody in any profession that I I want them to understand that you don't have to look a certain way or think you have to look a certain way or fit a certain mold to accomplish your goals. And that's been in my
Mhm.
head the whole time as I create my
Yeah.
content. I'm like, you don't have to look this way. You don't have to be this size. You don't have to wear your hair this way. You can be who you are and accomplish your goals. So
Mm.
that's kind of been my mission to get that message across.
Yeah, and you have been doing that so well. I
Thank
love the
you.
fact that you are just really showing up as yourself. That
Thank
is
you.
so important. And not only just showing up as yourself
Hmm.
physically, but also infusing all of the things that you love into
Yes.
your business. And people really can see that in your work and they can feel that in your messaging. And it is just fantastic. You mentioned Little Eats and Things. What is
Hmm.
that blog about? Is that for the kids?
Yes, that one's for a kid. So it's pretty much like Beautiful Eats and Things, but everything is kitty. I
No.
got like the kid friendly recipes. I have nutrition advice for parents, crafts. I have a lot of like DIY crafts for holidays and things like that you can do. So it's just for a different audience. At first, I had them together on the one site, but I wanted to break them apart because like on Beautiful Eats and Things, I'm talking about cocktails. I'm talking about
Mhm.
like some adult things. I just didn't feel like it meshed with me posting lunch boxes and the kid friendly content. So I kind of broke that apart so that I can have those two separate audiences to connect with.
I think that's
Thank
fantastic.
you.
Well, I have one more question for you,
Sure.
if that's okay.
Hmm.
I want to know, aside from showing up as your most authentic self,
Yes.
is there anything else that you feel has helped you to be really successful um, at what you're doing? You tripled your income, right?
Hmm.
You
Yes.
surpassed your long-term care
Hmm.
income. What do you really feel like on the practical side of things helped you to be
Yes.
successful in your nutrition business?
I would say to just being persistent about it
Mm,
because when I first started, I didn't have any of this, and it's easy to quit when you don't have that success like right off the top. Like when you're like, oh, I'm not making money, so you just want to give up. But I stuck with it, and then and I was motivated. Like I was when I realized that I could send out pitches to brands. I was
mhm.
sending several a day, maybe 20, a day. Like I was sending so many. I got so many no's, but maybe a couple of yeses, which were great. But I was like on that grind, like really just pushing and trying to be out there, really putting myself out there, trying to connect with friends. So, you have to be persistent. You have to be a go-getter. And I feel like that's kind of what, is leading me into that direction.
Yes, yes. I recently recorded a podcast episode um about being persistent, not
Mhm.
really about it, but I mentioned the importance of being persistent and consistent
Yes.
in everything that you do. It is
Hmm.
so important. You cannot get ahead and make yourself believe that things are going to be different from the way
Hmm.
that they used to be if you're not committed. And you
Exactly.
have to also be consistent with
Hmm.
whatever you do. And I feel like a lot of times we will give up, like you said, when it
Hmm.
doesn't work out the way we think
Yes.
it should have worked out. Well, maybe that's not along the journey or the
Hmm.
path of where you're being led to go. If a
Exactly.
thing didn't work out, that is not your way.
Hmm.
You're not, in my
Yes.
opinion, you're not supposed to go in that direction.
Yes.
You
Hmm.
need to go in another direction.
Yes. Try
Another
something
thing that
different.
yes, and
Hmm.
another thing that I see people do is just throw the whole thing out. Oh, it didn't
Yes.
work. Let me throw it
Uh-huh.
away. Just throw all the things out the window. But what really needs to happen oftentimes is just a little bit of a tweak
Hmm.
in that thing. So for instance, if if you don't get what you need from your blogs
Yes.
per se,
Hmm.
if you're not getting the collaborations per se,
Hmm.
you don't just throw the whole blog in the garbage.
No. Hmm.
You make some adjustments and you
Hmm.
figure out how you do things, how you can do things differently to get
Yes.
where you want to go.
Exactly.
Awesome. Any last tips that you want to share with the listeners about being authentic, building brand
Mhm.
collaborations, or anything else?
I would just say that, have patience with yourself, realize that these things don't happen overnight. So, I always say to enjoy that journey in the process that it takes to get to that level of success that you're trying to be, because I feel like it's so many learning lessons, so many things you can learn from, like you say, tweak and adjust, maybe make some things work better. So, have patience in it and enjoy the process, as you're getting there.
Yeah, it really is
Hmm.
important to enjoy the process. I
Yes.
really agree with you. And it's not always going to be rainbows and unicorns, but there's
Mhm.
always something to learn. And I
Exactly.
always say that when things don't work out, that is when we learn.
Yes, that
We
is so
don't learn
true. Hmm.
we don't learn from the things that we do well all of the
Yes.
time. We
Hmm.
learn from some of the mistakes we make. We
Hmm.
learn from some of the things we fail at and all of those in between things. So thank you
Yes,
so much
of
for
course.
being here and sharing your story. And um, I'm so sure that this has helped more than one person
Hmm.
out there. I think it's
Yes.
really important that the message keeps coming across that we
Hmm.
need to be more authentic in
Yes.
our nutrition practices
So true.
so that we can be successful. We're going to
Yes.
attract the right clients when we
Hmm.
show up as ourselves and stop trying to be someone else.
Yes, that is so true. Yes. Thank you so much for having me. I really enjoyed talking with you today.
Yes, it's been awesome. All right, you guys. Well, thanks for being here for another week of Make More Money as a Dietitian. And I'm wishing you all the best for a glorious weekend ahead. And I'll see you on the next episode. Bye bye. Hey, if you want to learn more about how you can make more money as a dietitian, I want you to check out my newest signature program, Embody Academy. All you have to do is head on over to moneymindsetdietitian.com/embody academy. Again, that's moneymindsetdietitian.com/embody academy and click on the Learn More button and get signed up to join us today. I can't wait to see your name on the roster so that I can help you learn how to make more money as a dietitian.